Hi everybody, my name is Emma, this is Emma Rosen Books, and today I thought I would film for you my August favourites. So I started doing this last month, I did my July favourites, and I got a really nice response to it, so I thought I'd do it again. It was fun to film, and yeah, people seem to like it. So I'm going with the same list of things, which actually I'll leave in the description, but I'm adding one this time to what I did last month. So I will go through that as I do it, but if you want to look at the list, it's down below. So my first favourite this month is, the category is for a book, and well, first of all, of course, is my upcoming book, which all going well, I should have already announced on this channel. I've spent the whole month working on different aspects of this book, and Evgenia, the illustrator, the same, and sort of working together in constant conversations between the two of us to get everything sorted. We both just wanted the quality to be so good, and we've both worked really hard on it, so that's why the release is so fast, because we were working right up against all the deadlines. But it's just, this week in particular for me has been crazy as I'm filming this, but yeah, it's just wow. But I'm really pleased that it's done. Well, it's not done, but you know, it's all ready for release, and I can start feeling excited about it instead of anxious. But obviously I'm going to be sharing loads of stuff about that on this channel. But anyway, in terms of books that I've been reading rather than books that I've been writing, this month I read Salmon Fishing in the Yemen, which I mean that book came out ages ago. In fact, I'm going to go and grab it. Anyway, so I remember this being super popular. When did it come out? That was one of the main reasons I wanted to go and get it. 2007, yeah, I knew it wasn't like super old, so it's 12 years old. Yeah, I remember lots of people reading this, and I just, you know, I'm always a bit slow to jump on the bandwagon. And picked it up in a charity shop somewhere, and I just thoroughly enjoyed this. I'm going to talk about it more in my wrap-up, but basically it had lots of things that I love in a book. It's got fisheries stuff, and as I've talked about on here before, I've got a degree in marine biology, and that's why I'm now sort of starting to write about sea-related stuff. And although salmon are predominantly a river fish, it's it's just it's like my area of interest. And on top of that, where it's based in the Yemen, when I was growing up, my dad lived in Saudi Arabia, so I used to travel to Saudi Arabia a lot. I spent a lot of time in Riyadh and Jeddah, and I absolutely loved it. I've just got such a soft spot for kind of like Arabic culture and Arabic sort of landscapes and history and all of that stuff. I'm just really interested in it, so having both those things in this book, it was right up my street, and the writing is lovely. I really enjoyed this, but as I say, I will talk about it in a bit more detail than that in my wrap up. But that was my favourite book this month. I loved it. My next category is a place, and I went to the Shell Grotto with my kids. The Shell Grotto is in Margate, and it's such a strange little place. I first went there, must have been 10 years ago. I think me and my husband went for Valentine's Day, and it's been an ongoing joke with my kids that if the weather's bad, it's always hard to find something to do if the weather's bad. And when we'll sort of go, oh, what should we do today? That I'll quite often say, oh, let's go to the Shell Grotto. And they're like, oh, we're not going to the Shell Grotto. And it's been like an ongoing thing. And I thought, you know what, I'm actually going to take them there after all this time kind of joking about it. And so I didn't tell them where we were going. I just said we were going on a secret trip. And we drove there, and when we drove, it's on a road called Grotto Road. And as we drove up Grotto Road, they were like, oh, the Shell Grotto, don't believe it. So anyway, I think because of that, they kind of didn't have any expectations of it particularly. Otherwise, they might have been like, oh, we don't want to go and all this. So the Shell Grotto is this weird, like, underground cavern where the walls are covered in, it's something like 5 billion, I don't know, I'll write it below, shells. And all the shells are have been like damaged by the old lighting that used to be used, but it said on one of the signs that even if they cleaned them, they would just be white now. So yeah, the shells aren't like super brightly coloured, although there's a panel to show you what it would have looked like. Very plains. Which is really interesting to see how brightly coloured it would have been. If you look up pictures of it, I mean, it's just spectacular. It's not very big. Me and my kids kind of went round it. I think we went round twice and took our time looking at it. And I mean, it really didn't take long, but it's so interesting because they found it in the 1800s. There's a story about they were doing like some digging or something, and somebody lost their spade down a hole. I'm sorry if I'm totally butchering this story. And then they sent a kid down like through the hole to get it, and they found this grotto. That's like, so the story goes. But so yeah, it was discovered then, so they know it's older than, like, I think it's like 1824 or something, but nobody has any idea when it was actually built. They haven't been able to date it due to like funding issues, and also issues with just actually the building. So it could have been built just a few years before they found it, or it could be like Roman or something. So and there's no record of it anywhere. So they've got no idea when it was built. They don't know why it was built. To me, it looks like kind of a religious place. There's like an altar area. I mean, some people say it could be for smugglers, but I don't think that you would decorate something that beautifully for smugglers. I don't know. To me, it's something that somebody built to like secretly worship or something like that. But it's so weird just being underground in this like strange cavern. And the kids were really into it, which was, there was another family there where the kids were really bored, so it was quite funny. My kids loved it, and just really got into like the mystery of it. And then you get a little worksheet, so we sat and did that afterwards, and so they're like doing some sort of colouring in and stuff. And it's actually got a really good gift shop as well, and we spent forever with my kids deciding what little, you know, shell thing they wanted to get with their pocket money. So it's really good. It is quick to go round, so don't expect like, you know, a really big trip or anything if you do go, but it's amazing because it's just so interesting. And I mean, personally, we went to the Tudor house, which is just up the other end of the road from it, which is quite interesting, just an old a Tudor house, as you would expect, with like bits of like costumes you can try on and things like that. And then we went to the Turner Contemporary gallery to go and do like an art workshop, and it's really good there as well. I would recommend all those places, but yeah, the Shell Grotto is like my number one place that we went to in the summer holidays. And even though it wasn't big, it was just a really fun day for us, like a really good like bonding thing between us. So, and it's been this ongoing joke, so yeah, I love that. The next category I have is an activity that I have been enjoying. Well, this month, me and the kids, I think we've done both this month, we did some beach cleans. I've always enjoyed beach cleaning. I used to do it when I was at university. If there was one that I could get to, me and my friends used to go and join in. And through the years, if like I'm available and I can go, then I do try and go to beach cleans. I enjoy them because obviously you're doing something good. There's something quite cathartic about finding all the rubbish and clearing it up, and I don't know, it's just there is something that's quite pleasurable about doing it, satisfying, and just being on a beach and all of that. But yeah, the kids have really enjoyed it, and they got the same kind of pleasure out of it, of knowing that like they picked up sharp pieces of glass so that a dog wouldn't step on it, or they'd found some string so that a creature wouldn't get tangled up in it, and all that kind of stuff. And you know, they like running around with the grabber, and usually the baby, she's 2, she gets fed up with it, and I end up having to carry her, and then it ends up just getting like stressful. But no, it's been really nice. And actually we also went on a seashore safari, which was really good fun as well. And what I liked about that was that it had like a table where if anybody found anything interesting, they could put it out. So if all you're finding on the beach is kind of run-of-the-mill stuff, you can still go and view the really interesting things, which my kids loved that, because the one we went to, they had a jellyfish, they had loads of massive great big crabs, they had some fish. So yeah, being able to see the stuff that we hadn't been lucky enough to find was like a real added bonus. And actually, maybe I should just say that my favourite activity has been going to the beach. Going to the beach, but like with organised activities. That's been my favourite thing. Because I think you just learn something extra, and just the way that you engage with it is different if you go on an organised activity. So I've been really enjoying that. My next category is a YouTube channel. And this month I've been really enjoying, I actually can't remember which channel she's been uploading this content on, because she's got 2 channels. It's a lady called Bryony Farmer, and she's got Bryony Farmer Vlogs, I think it's called, and she's also got Precious Stars Pads. I have a feeling it's on her vlog channel. Bryony, I've been watching her for years. She makes videos about reusable menstrual products, and she's just brilliant. She kind of gives tips on using them, and she reviews them. And when she started her channel, she must have only been about 16. She's just amazing, like entrepreneurial, creative woman. She's brilliant. And anyway, what I've particularly been enjoying, so I've always liked her channel. She has just recently announced that she has become a foster carer, and she's only 22. She's a single woman, and she's gone through the whole process. She sort of explained how she went through the fostering process and lots of information about it. And she's been very thorough, I think, in just explaining what's involved in becoming a foster carer, and like all of the checks and the courses and everything that she's done and how she feels about it. And now she's starting to talk a little bit more about her experience. I think I just personally have a lot of admiration for her, because as a young woman she's so sort of intelligent and articulate and like business minded. Like she runs her own business selling reusable menstrual pads, cloth pads, that's the word I'm looking for. And I mean, when I was that age, I was just an idiot. So I just think seeing somebody who's just so awesome, she's brilliant in general. But the fostering content has just been very, very interesting, because I don't know if it's something I would do, but it is something that sometimes I think about. So it's been nice to know more, and just I admire her so much. So I'd really recommend her channel if you're interested in finding out about all that kind of stuff. I don't always recommend bookish channels, just things that I've been enjoying watching. So yeah, Bryony Farmer, across both of her channels, but her fostering content has been really, really good. My next category is food. Well, it's the summer and it's the UK, so my favourite food is fish and chips, just undoubtedly. There's something about it. You go to a beach, you eat fish and chips. It's just the rules. I didn't make the rules. It's just the way it is. And actually, me and my friends were at an event last week, two of my friends, and I kind of talked them into going and buying chips because we hadn't eaten. It was really late and there was a chip bar around the corner, and we broke down and ended up sat outside this chip bar for like an hour and a half. Chip bar? What am I talking about? Like fish and chip shop for an hour and a half, waiting for the breakdown guy. And we had an adventure. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but it was an adventure. So that's the, it's just the favourite food. Every summer it's going to be the same. TV. What I've really been enjoying is Bob Mortimer and Paul Whitehouse's fishing show, which you would think that I would know what it's called. What's it called? I don't know. I'll put it here. But in my head, that's what it's called. It's the Bob Mortimer and Paul Whitehouse fishing thing. That's like, what do you want to watch? The fishing thing. I don't know. But I loved it last series, which must have been last year, and I'm so glad that it's come back for another series because, it's just gorgeous. There's so many reasons that I like it. My husband says that I have a thing where I like programs that are just nice. Like, I like things, although I enjoy watching like thrillers or things that are like tense, or they make me feel very anxious sometimes, and watching something that is just lovely, it gives me such pleasure. And I feel that way about this show, that it's just nice. It's just a nice program. I like both Bob Mortimer and Paul Whitehouse anyway. I grew up in the 90s. They were the comedians that were around. I particularly liked Reeves and Mortimer, so both of their like style of humour is really like up my street. And it's about fishing, which as I've already said, like I like fish, but it's the way it's filmed. It's like the landscapes, just the way they film the rivers. I just think, I wish I was there. And the way they make fishing seem so appealing. Like I've never really been that bothered about it, but the way that they are so excited about it and the way that they kind of enjoy it, and the friendship between them. They also talk a lot about heart health, because that's part of what the series is about, that both of them had scares with their hearts, so they talk about like healthy food and stuff. But it's just lovely, and there's something about it that's just kind of emotional and beautiful, and I'd really recommend it just for a sweet half-hour feel-good kind of program. It's the best. Music. Do you know, like this month I really haven't been listening to that much music, which is really unusual for me, and so I was kind of struggling to think of something that I'd actually been into. But I tell you what I will include. We've been listening to a lot of like kids music. The kids put like playlists on why am I holding a leaf? they put stuff on Alexa, or they'll just ask for like, I don't know, we've got like a playlist that's on there for them, or they'll ask for specific artists. Or and my middle child, my daughter who's 6, she really likes Taylor Swift. I don't even know if she was specifically listening to Taylor Swift, but it was all kind of like pop type stuff, that kind of style. And my youngest daughter suddenly started singing along to Shake It Off, and it was just the cutest thing. And so we've been listening to it a lot and getting her to sing it, because she calls it Shake Off. and she does like the where it's like shake it off, she does like that bits, and it's, yeah, you know, kid stuff, it's cute. So I'm gonna put that as my favourite because it's sweet. Right, and then I like to include a kid's hack, like something that's like a tip for entertaining kids or whatever, because I just, you know, I like that kind of stuff. And this month, the one that's worked really well, so where we've been having our extension built, up until last week it hadn't been plastered, the kids decided that they were living in there. My daughters came up with this game where they were poor princesses that had to live in this extension. They had this whole game going. We had all our old sofas in there as well, so they were basically treating it like a soft play, but they claimed that they lived in there, and they would spend all day in there, like, I'm not kidding. But anyway, and we came up with this thing. They asked for snacks one day, and I was like, well, you know, you can just have like food that isn't even fit for the dogs to eat, and you can have it with poo. And they were like, okay, great. So I was like, I don't know what that is. So I cut up a load of fruit and then put peanut butter on it, and they ate a lot. And normally if I gave them some cut up fruit and peanut butter, I mean, they might eat it, they like fruit, but they wouldn't be like majorly enthusiastic about it. But because they call it dog food and poo, because it was dog food and poo, they were totally into it, and they asked for it all the time. Even if they're not, I mean, now we've got plaster on the walls and we're actually using our extension bed, so they don't live in there anymore, but they still ask for dog food and poo. So my kids' tip is tell them that their food is disgusting, they'll eat it. I don't know, I mean, it doesn't work for every food, but it worked for that. So it just like vanishes. So I like put it in there, go on, eat your dog food and poo, and they do, you know. And then I wanted to add one more category to my favourites, which is a podcast, because I love listening to podcasts, and I realised that it was like a massive omission not to mention my favourite podcast, because I do enjoy listening to them. And this month I have been enjoying Joanna Penn's new podcast, which is called Books and Travel. So I'm sure lots of you listen to The Creative Penn. It's brilliant. I really enjoy it. But I feel that I batch listen to The Creative Penn because I go through phases where I'm like, I don't want to listen to it because it almost stresses me out thinking about, because it's like work, I suppose. And then I'll suddenly listen to loads of it and find it really inspiring, and then I have to like take a break from it. But also because the episodes are quite long. Books and Travel aren't as long, they're sort of half an hour, 40 minutes-ish, rather than like the hour-ish that quite often The Creative Penn is. And it's got a different vibe to it as well. And I really enjoy it because I love books and I love travel. So therefore, although we don't travel massively, I really enjoy it. And when we go away, I don't tend to like doing a package holiday type things. I like to explore a place. And I love the fact that in Books and Travel, she talks about places in the UK and stuff like that as well. It's not just, because we quite often do go for like weekend breaks in places, or like I go with my friends on weekend breaks and things. So that kind of, I like that it's not just all exotic locations. It's not just like travelling to places that I may never go to. It's a real variety. She did a past episode that was about Egypt, I think. And as I said, I spent a lot of time in Saudi Arabia. She's a scuba diving instructor. I'm a scuba diving instructor. I say that with like a massive disclaimer that I only ever taught 2 people and I'm out of date. So like I'm qualified as an instructor, but I'm not like working as an instructor. That's my level of qualification. But I mean, the way that I love diving and talking about the sea and all of that, she kind of seems to have that. She's got a really lovely way of talking about travel. There's something sort of very calm and relaxing and inspiring, and it's just I like it. I mean, what more can you say? That's the point of favourites, isn't it? But I've really been enjoying that podcast, and she gives book recommendations to do with a place, and I definitely will be checking out some of the recommendations she's given, because I don't think I'd realised how much I liked reading about locations and about like thinking about things in a different cultural way, and I think that her podcast has made me realise that I really do. And actually that was, I mean, funny enough to come back to the book that I liked this month. It was why I like salmon fishing in the Yemen, is because of that travel aspect of it and sort of escapism, I guess. So yeah, I would definitely check that out. I'll make sure to leave my list of categories below, and let me know if you make favourites videos, or if you've been enjoying any of these things, or you want to tell me the things that you've been enjoying this month. Please do leave them in the comments, and I will see you for my next one. It will all be book launch stuff for a couple of weeks, so I'll see you for all of that content. But I've got loads of stuff coming up all about kind of writing and publishing and, you know, yeah, it's going to be good. I'm really looking forward to sharing everything I've learned. But yeah, I will see you all soon for more videos about books, about writing. Have a lovely last little bit of the summer. Take care.